Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Barbie Dolls of the Week. This week, I'm very excited. We have Dorota with us, who is from living in Austria, and she's one of our fellow collectors. And Dorota, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Hi everyone, I'm very excited to be included in a video today. My name is Dorota, as you already mentioned. I live in Austria. Um, I was born in Poland, so I moved to Austria as a little child. And that also plays into my history with Barbie a little bit, as we maybe will find out later.
Okay. Okay. Good. So, and I think you said you were born in Poland, and what age were you when your parents moved to Austria?
Four and a half, five. So it
Oh,
was the end of the 80s.
okay. And had you any Barbie or Barbie type dolls before that in Poland?
No, there were little dolls, sometimes clones, like smaller dolls, but in general it was very hard to get any toys because it was in the communism era.
Yeah,
So shops were practically empty. It was very tough to get anything.
yeah. So then when you guys moved to Austria, was it a lot easier to get things? And obviously it wasn't the same type of environment.
Yeah, it was a completely different environment to see the the Barbie aisle in a huge toy store in Austria for the first time. And also it was the height of Barbie, basically the beginning of the 90s, end of 80s. There was the explosion of those products.
Oh yeah.
So coming from way less, seeing this kind of stuff was astonishing to me. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing that such a difference and at a good time. So then did you start collecting Barbie right away, or how did it first start?
I would say that it slowly developed, that I was always a Barbie person. I always enjoyed the size, the look of the dolls. But obviously, since we came from a poorer situation, my parents didn't have the means to buy me Barbies. So I mostly was admiring them in the stores. And then one incident was that a friend of my father worked for one toy store, and he gifted me my first real Mattel Barbie that was with a superstar face. And that, for me, it was a dream come true because it was like unattainable at that time.
And
And that's my first memory of the first Barbie that I really owned.
okay, and who did you say gave that to you? A friend of
A friend of my father who was just a manager at the store,
okay, and do you
and
remember
he
what
saw me probably.
I
Probably he saw me staring, and he was like, how come this girl doesn't have a Barbie yet?"
exactly wait. Do you remember which doll that was?
It was a fashion play one.
Okay.
She had this long magenta auburn dress with the. It's a very typical. Later on, I found it in fashion packs, but this specific fashion play edition I couldn't find because I wanted to rebuy her on eBay
Mhm,
a while ago.
mhm.
I don't know the model exactly.
Oh, that's okay. Now you also had told me that you in the beginning, and I'm not sure exactly when this was. Maybe you can tell us. Is you collected Steffi dolls or Steffi face dolls? So when did that start?
Exactly. Obviously, as a child, you somehow realize that there are a lot of blonde Barbies. So I was on the lookout for the brunettes that resembled me, where I could identify better.
Sure.
And I saw there were those Princess Laura. They were called Laura. The Whitneys from the US were called Laura in Europe.
Oh yes.
And there was the Jewel Secrets Whitney and
Mm,
the Perfume Pretty, both in
mhm.
those blue
Oh yeah.
kind of outfits. And this is a memory I have that I really, really wanted them, but they were intensely expensive. Even then, like compared, probably even more expensive than the blonde Barbie. So this was an unachieved goal as a child that then led me actually in my 20s to start collecting because I was earning my first money and
Yeah.
I decided to get Steffi's that I didn't get as a child.
Okay, nice. Yeah, they that I think that happened to so many of us as young people or children, is that you saw these dolls and you wanted dolls, you couldn't always afford them. And later, when, as you said, when you start working or something and you have some extra money, you certainly can. Um, So then, how did that lead to later collecting, or did that lead to later collecting? I'm not sure how you got from that to like you're collecting recently.
Well, let's say the time spent then till my early teenage years, I really avidly played with Barbie. I took photos. I had a house which was made of cardboard and way too small. I just
Yeah,
recently realized that the height, since it was a cheaper version, the dolls had to bend to move inside the house. So it was this improvised
sure.
thing, and I had mostly the beach Barbies with the bathing suits that were a bit cheaper, so I had a few, and I still kept them in a box. I didn't never gave them away. And then obviously when I grow up, it became like not interesting for a while. And then early 20s with the first Steffies that I got on eBay, I started being on eBay a lot and looking up stuff from abroad, trying to get a bit of
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Um, so I got probably three, four, five boxed dolls that I had for a few years. I just kept them displayed and it was enough for me. But I never would have expected it to
Yeah.
erupt like
Yeah.
then some decades later into like quite a bigger collection then.
Yeah. Now, do you still have any of those dolls that you got early on, like even some of the Steffi face ones?
Yes, I still have the Dolls of the World India that had the Steffi face with this red sari, this clothing,
Uh-huh.
um, which during the pandemic I was even considering unboxing her because dolls from this generation at some point the boxes are just they break apart. They are not that. Also the shape of this Dolls of the World line is a bit it's not rectangular. It has this
Mm.
different shape that is hard to put on
Okay.
shelves. They keep falling.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is definitely one. And one I sold from this first collection, there was the Princess of the Dutch Court. It's with the
Oh,
Mackie
yeah.
face, the blonde with this light blue dress gown.
Okay. Yeah.
That
Sounds
was
familiar.
like the first collector Barbie that I got.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
So,
and
so let me ask you this, because being in Europe and in Austria in particular, you said that when you got there, there was a lot more dolls than, of course, Poland. But nowadays, how is it to collect? Is it are they plentiful? Is it easy to find things? How is it in Austria for you as far as collecting Barbie?
well, let's say the whole development, like with Toys R Us shutting down, kind of also huge toy stores reducing, has affected us as well. I mean, recently there are still some bigger ones, but what is more common is that there are lots of Barbies in drugstores and in supermarkets. So they do have Barbies, they do have the fashionistas. That's how I came across also the fashionistas at some point,
Uh huh.
and I started collecting again those new lines.
Okay.
But it's partially very limited. You never know which batch you're gonna get if they have all of them. It's very selective. So really then online buying is what then keeps you busy
Sure.
because they have the more rare dolls.
Yeah, and I know you had mentioned that, and I found this interesting when we talked earlier. You mentioned that eBay and Amazon, you can actually buy from the US versions of those, but there's also other versions, I believe you said. But so how does that
Exactly.
work? So if you go to look for a doll, for instance, on Amazon, are you just automatically starting with an Austrian or European version of it, and then you also check the US? How does that work?
Exactly. You sit at the computer a lot. So the first choice usually is really the German one. That's the closest and the biggest market.
Okay.
And since it takes 2-3 days to deliver, if you're really eager to get something and cannot wait, it's the first point to look for.
Yeah.
And then since I realized that there are many good deals on the American Amazon, then always double check to make sure that I don't double pay like an overpriced German price for something that can still be imported for a very, very good deal.
Okay, and I know there's additional fees when you have to bring something in from like the U. I don't know if it's any country or definitely from the U.S. because aren't there import fees and
Yeah.
other
From
taxes maybe?
from a specific amount, around $23, you have to then add import fees. So it makes sense. The cheaper the doll, the better the deal.
Yeah.
And also, even though there are those fees, Amazon still manages to keep the shipping costs quite in a competitive range. So
Oh,
they are
good.
not that high. Like the American Amazon is really affordable for
Hmm.
some dolls.
Yeah. Now, are you guys able to order from
I
Walmart.com?
tried because I have this shipping buddy, so I would have an address. But ironically, then the credit card, they somehow realized the credit card is not registered in the US, so they don't let you buy.
Oh.
You would have to. I filled lots of baskets. My baskets from Target and Walmart were sitting there, and I was like finishing the order, and then it always came back. My bank blocked it, Walmart blocked it, and so there are the services in some US shipping companies that they shop for you, so you
Hmm.
can take, but then that's additional fees obviously for them to shop for you. So
So, but it sounds like you can't just buy directly from Target or
no,
Walmart, for instance.
even if you have a shipping address, because they recognize that the payment doesn't come from the US.
Huh. Well, don't they? Do they have? Are there WalMarts or Targets in Austria, for instance,
I
or Germany?
don't I don't know what is the equivalent, what is the main mother company, to be honest. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Probably there are some daughter companies.
Okay. But not
Yeah.
Walmart specifically.
No, with the name, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Now, you mentioned having a shipping buddy. I'm just curious, how does that work? So, like in the case what you just mentioned with Walmart or Target, you can have that shipped to that person, which I assume is here in the U.S. or who is in the U.S.,
Exactly.
and then they
Exactly.
ship to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because shipping dolls very much depends on the size of the parcel. And Amazon and other companies, they sometimes pack small stuff into such huge boxes. And then, of
Yeah.
course, they have to charge you $30 or I don't know what.
Right.
So a while ago, I figured out there is this first class shipment.
Hmm.
Usually is quite inexpensive. It ranges from $14 to $20. And if you pack smartly, you can do it. So
Hmm. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you have some options. I think that people here don't realize how lucky sometimes we are and how easy it is to find even secondhand. I know we also talked about secondhand dolls and going to. You had told me about, and I'd like you to share it here if you would. The show you went to and people were selling. Can you tell us a little bit about that and when that
exactly.
was?
There's a small convention. I found out about it through Facebook. Actually, they had a Facebook event that was 3 years ago, and it had been going on continuously. I just missed it, and it was a small, like, well, middle-sized room where there were a few sellers that were selling collector dolls, boxed ones, but also some probably thrift store owners or some just
Hmm.
elderly ladies that were selling off older dolls. And that's where I found actually one Grail doll of mine, and I have her here
Oh,
redressed.
let's see.
That was
Oh yeah, that's
the
Kara.
ballerina Cara.
Kara,
Exactly.
yeah, that's nice. She looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, she has a bit of damage on her feet, so I put her into those.
Okay.
when you
Oh,
when
they
you
look
hide it,
fine. They
it's
look good.
okay.
So how are the prices when you find dolls like that usually?
I mean, this was really luck. This was around $15, which
Okay.
is a great deal.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, now this year, like I said, like from last autumn on, it started exploding. So even loose dolls that were used are minimum 20, 25, $30.
Hmm.
Like those, when I look on Facebook groups where there are the claim sales where they sell off dolls for $3, $4 each, that's impossible to think about here.
Okay.
Unless they are really played with and the
Yeah.
person wants to get rid of them because they are damaged. But
Hmm.
15, 20 is minimum that you have to pay.
That's a lot for a loose
Mm.
doll. Now,
Mm.
speaking of boxed or loose, now behind you we see some of your dolls, which look very nice, by the way. How do you decide what? I know you mentioned some you take out of the box if you think there's some damage or something, but in general, how do you decide which ones are going to be boxed or unboxed, or is that how you bought them?
Um, No, I do unbox. So I started out basically with box dolls. When they were less, they were much more easier to display. They looked nice. At some point, when they started multiplying, uh, I had to make new space. So usually I decide also which doll do I want to pose for photos, which
Oh
doll do I
yeah,
want to free up and maybe redress. So then I'm gonna unbox her.
I see.
Um, I would love to have doubles, especially of the Steffi ones.
Hmm.
That's my goal, to have rather boxed and unboxed, but for now it's not realistic. So I have a few loose ones and still a couple boxed ones. So we will see how that will
Okay. Now,
develop.
by the way, you mentioned that, you had had a lull in collecting for some years, but I think you told me you started collecting again kind of hot and heavy the last, what, 2 or 3 years,
Two,
I
two,
believe.
3 years.
And so um you've mentioned photography with your dolls, and I know you have an Instagram page. Would you like to tell us the name of that page?
Exactly. So I I am Dorota Dolls on Instagram. I started uploading like diorama photos or some things I made there, and I also have the website. Then my boyfriend helped me build the website. So
Oh, okay. You have a website as well. Now,
exactly,
and is it, just so everybody knows, is it Doda with an A or
Doda,
Dodo?
Yeah, Doda
Doda.
from
Okay.
Dorota. It's a
Oh,
Polish diminutive, like a cute
yeah, like a
abbreviation of the name.
abbreviated version. So Doda
Yeah,
with an A on Instagram, and your website is.
it's dodadolls.com.
Okay, that's
Doda
easy.
Dolls.
Well, so besides the photography, what else do you like to do with your dolls, or do you make anything for them?
Yeah, exactly. I got inspired at some point. Sometimes it's very hard to get fashion packs, for instance, here.
Mm.
And you see those amazing things, or you want to really recreate something. So I got, uh, in the last 1 or 2 years, I started teaching myself sewing a bit and with a
Okay.
machine. So I first I started also with very simple furniture,
Oh yeah, that's
just
nice though.
covering foam with a bit of cardboard to
Uh-huh.
make.
That looks good.
And then obviously you can do bedding with two
Oh,
sides.
nice. That's
So
nice.
yeah,
It's kind of like a comforter and pillow.
exactly.
Okay, that see, I couldn't do that, so I'm impressed.
Thanks. And another little thing, I got some faux leather,
Uh-huh. Oh,
and you can make little books. There's a
okay.
like
Yeah. Well, that's really inventive. I thought at first it was a little purse or bag,
yeah, it looks
kind of like
like
a
a
book
bag,
bag.
but inside there is paper. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very ornate. I like the whatever that outside part is.
Yeah, to
Now,
wrap it.
did you have some other dolls you wanted to show us right now, or?
Yeah, I can show you. So maybe let's start with her.
Okay, and
This one I got thanks to a Facebook group, because to get her in Europe, forget it. It's impossible. And also recently on eBay, I saw every time she's listed, she's like the price is exploding, and all the
uh-huh.
people
Now
want to
remind
get
me
her.
who is that? Is that it's Whitney, right?
Teresa, in this
Oh,
case, it's
Teresa. Okay.
the All American Teresa.
Oh, okay. All American. I knew she looked familiar. All American. Yeah, now I see her better.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I like her hair and the color is nice. I didn't realize it
Yeah.
was that light. Okay,
The
yeah.
face paint is also very, very nice.
Yeah, I do like that. That is one of my favorite face molds. I agree.
Yeah. Exactly. We both agree. Then we have another Steffi, just to stay on the topic. Um, this is the Hawaiian one.
Oh, okay. Do you know
What I
which? Do you know
Yeah,
which Hawaiian one that is? Is it from the 70s or 80s?
yeah, yeah, from the 70s.
Okay.
And this one has this typical, I don't know why it is that those 70s dolls have this glistening hair that is becoming, weird. The
Kind of.
texture is
Oh,
like it's dissolving. I don't,
huh. Yeah, I don't know.
so.
Because I know there was a Hawaiian one in the, I want to say in the late 70s, and then there was one maybe in the mid 80s. I think that's the
Mhm,
one I have over there is, you can't, there it is. Oops, wrong way,
mhm.
right there. Um,
Oh, so this is the one. This is the one I have.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the same one as that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure when that's from, but I thought it may be early 80s. I'm not positive.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, they're, I think they're, they don't look that different from what I remember, but yeah, and this, what do you think it is about the Steffi face you like so much?
It's just a good balance. I find that the composition of the face, it's not too cute, it's not too serious. It's like this classic beauty. Probably was just the analysis which face is the most.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is a beautiful face, like you mentioned on the Whitneys, and I think even the PJ is that the same face, the PJ,
Yeah, the
like
PJ exactly.
Dream Date PJ or someone.
Yeah,
Those I think they're just, sometimes it's nice to have a doll that's not got a big smile on its face. It's just like a little creep of a smile, a little tiny creepy. Now, how do you stay in touch with other collectors now, especially during the pandemic? Or
yeah,
are you
mostly
able to?
online. Obviously, sadly, there have been trials to do conventions again. People are already waiting and cannot wait to get out, but it's not doable at the moment. So mostly Facebook groups, Instagram, like this.
Okay. And one other question that just popped into my mind is about space.
Mm.
Obviously, we all have issues as collectors with space issues. Me, I know I do. I mean, especially as collecting as long as I have. So, how is it for you? Because I believe you're in a kind of a small setting. Is that true?
So this is the working room, like the office of the apartment, and so during the last 2 years, it has mutated into a Barbie room. Um, yeah, there are some wardrobes here that used to be filled up with my clothing. There's no longer my clothing. There are just Barbie dolls. So,
I know the
um,
feeling. Yeah,
and that's, yeah,
I was gonna
no,
say
sorry.
that's to me the biggest challenge as a collector is the space issue. But so just to wrap things up, how would you tell, or what would you tell people as far as why you like to collect Barbie and maybe other dolls? What is it about the dolls that you like?
It's extremely inspiring. Like we saw earlier, it inspires you to try out new things, to create, to be creative. Plus, it's really this reminder of the childhood a bit, this nostalgia feeling that you get when you remember the feelings. You can travel back in time a bit. So that's the
Well,
main.
and like you said, you do the photography and you're making clothes and furniture, or not clothes, I'm sorry, bedding and furniture. I don't know. Do you make clothes too?
Well, I do prints. I have actually one here. So
Okay.
I sometimes print on t-shirts like this.
Oh, nice.
I
Okay.
do just,
Can we see? Yeah. Oh, there. Oh, I love that one with the black Barbie on the front,
yeah,
especially.
that's
Where did you
cute.
get those?
So I take a graphic, usually maybe I adapt some graphics from the internet and then I
Oh,
print it on a paper and attach it to the fabric.
what makes it stick on there?
There are papers for this. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's a
For
specific paper clip.
ironing. Yeah.
By the way, can we see those two dolls' faces? The two dolls that you
Yes,
showed us? I
of
didn't see
course.
who they were.
So this
Oh,
is the fashionista,
okay.
the
Yes,
petite,
I recognize her. Yeah.
but she's rebodied to the made to move body.
Yeah. Well, that looks really nice. I love that outfit on her, by the way, and
Thank you.
especially what you did. I just love that graphic. Yeah. And who was the other one?
And the other one that's from 2001, this is the Beat and Beauty Barbie, which I
Okay.
find has a very, also very nice face.
Yeah. And I like that her hair is kind of a sandy color.
Yeah.
I can't tell what it says on her top there. What does it say?
Oh, it's a German movie. It's a documentary that I was part of, and so I
Oh,
made a bit of promotion T-shirt for that.
okay. Oh, that's cool. What does
Yeah.
it mean though? What do the words mean?
Nicht die Regel means not the rule. Like it's not the rule. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is just really cool. I'm so glad to talk to you today and to get to know more about you. And we've talked about doing possibly a second video and you getting to show us more of your collection. But today I wanted to focus on getting to know you and some of your your background and your history with collecting. And so I think that's a good way to introduce people to you as a fellow, in this case, European collector. And we're so glad to be able to, even with the pandemic, I think this is an interesting way to meet people, and I really enjoyed meeting you and talking to you. So I want to thank you all for watching today. And by the way, if you have any questions for Dorota, please leave them in the comments, and she will take a look and answer those for you, and also potentially share her Instagram site if she wants on the comments. That would be great. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye and I will see you guys next time. And Dorota, thank you for joining
Thank
me
you so
today.
much.
You're
Thank you. It
welcome.
was a lot of
I
fun.
really enjoyed it and I'll talk to you guys later.